So it should come up on your screen as soon as you guys.
It's now streaming. Yep, YouTube. Fantastic. Okay, I'll pound my fist on my kitchen counter and say that the Lorain Port and Finance Authority Board of Directors meeting on Tuesday, January 12th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Can I start with a roll call, please?
Steve Bancek.
Here.
Matt
Here.
Kuzner.
Here.
Brad Mullins.
Here.
Carl Nielsen.
Here.
Neil Summers.
Here.
John Viard is not here. Jeff Sellers.
Here.
Al Gantz. Thank you. Seven here.
Okay. Normally we would do the Pledge of Allegiance now, but because of Zoom, I guess we'll bypass that. Disposition of meeting minutes for November 10th, 2020, regular board meeting. Any changes, any questions, any comments?
Yes, there were a few minor corrections, mostly just typos and spelling errors. Thankfully, I had Neil looking through the minutes for me, so I was able to make all of those changes prior to tonight's meeting.
Okay, fantastic. So with the changes in the meeting minutes for November 10th, 2020, can I get a motion to approve?
So prove it. I'll make a motion.
By
Yes.
Neil, second.
Second.
By Steve Bancek, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. And there's Mr. Zagantz. Hello, Mr. Zagantz.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Okay, we're going from there to the report of officers. Tom, any correspondence received?
I did get a few things last minute. Today I received an email from Mr. Rice. Mr. Rice is the gentleman that had placed an offer on the property on Lakeside Avenue that we could not come to a consensus as to whether or not to sell that property. Just asked that I would bring it up to the board again for consideration. I told him that it was not on the agenda, but I would at least deliver his message. So there is standing offer on that one residential lot. I will, I'll create a link and send it out to the board tomorrow, kind of a highlight of which that lot that is and some information. And perhaps you can, if we want to put on the agenda for February's meeting, we can do that. Second to that, received 2 copies today of the Lakeland Boating Magazine. It's obviously a lake-based boating magazine that Tiffany and I did a phone interview with them quite some time ago, probably November or December. And the February issue came out. We've got some really good quotes. We've got some really good photographs of Black River Landing, all the things that the port does, a little piece on Oasis. And it's a feature about the different harbors in Lorain County. So it came out really nice. When the digital link comes out, their January episode is still on the website. When the February edition comes out, I'll send the link out to the board. But I've got 2 copies in print, but really nice feature. I'm really happy that we sat down and did that interview. Got some nice quotes out of it. I also received emails from the mayor's office. Congratulations to Neil, who has been reappointed for another term. He had the expired term of Connie Carr. So Neil, you've got 4 more years. Congratulations. Bad news, Roberto was not renewed. I spoke to Roberto personally and thanked him for his services, and we'll have the accommodations prepared for the February's meeting. I received an email just about an hour ago that there was a little bit of confusion about political parties, but it appears that in Roberto's place, a gentleman by the name of Vassie Scott, Carl Nielsen's very connected to Mr. Scott, says he's a great individual for the board. He is going to be appointed as an independent to the board. Just for everyone's education, the ordinance that was passed in 1964 and then amended in 67 states that we cannot have more than 5 members of any political party on the board simultaneously. So with the current makeup, we would have 4 5 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and 1 independent. So that's how that's all going to shake out. Any questions on the correspondence?
Nope. So when does it take effect? When will we take effect?
Mr. Scott's letter will go to, and Neil's reappointment letter will go in front of council on January 19th. I think they're still mobile, so if I need to, I'll virtually attend that meeting.
Good. Okay. Anything else, Tom?
No, that's all the correspondence I have.
From the executive director's position, anything from you?
I didn't have a lot on the agenda tonight. I mean, I always said I wish everybody a happy new year. COVID has been a challenge for everybody. I'm hoping that, perhaps in February we can get together in the train station. That will be vacated and we can spread out and have an in-person meeting. I know that, we're getting better at this, but it's not everybody's first choice. I was ill right before Christmas, and out of abundance of cautions, I isolated, and then we ended up closing the offices and going remote over Christmas. I ended up testing negative, but had some symptoms that I was concerned about. So out of preponderance of caution, we had a good practice where we basically isolated and everybody worked from home. So we've been doing a combination. If any of the employees feel like they want to work remotely, I encourage it and stand by them. We always get the job done. But to the credit of the employees, we've been masking up. Everybody kind of goes to their own office and everybody comes in the office every day. So we've had a good presence. We don't have the doors open to the public. We do buzz people in once they're masked, but we're getting through it. So I think that, hopefully as the vaccinations go out, we'll see a brighter 2021, and I'll actually talk to board leadership, for the February meeting, and we'll decide what we're comfortable with. So just wanted to get everybody kind of up to speed on that. And the other thing is Tiffany and I were preparing the 2020 year in review report and our strategic plan update. We both decided it's kind of a pain to do these type of presentations on a Zoom meeting. So we're hoping, fingers crossed, we can do that in person in February. If we do not meet in person in February, then we'll do a PowerPoint and do it on Zoom. But we just thought, what's another 30 days to do the report? So we'd rather do it in person if at all possible. There's better interaction. So that's all I have. So thank you. Any questions? I'm available.
Very good. Thank you, Tom. Tiffany, Economic Development Director, any update?
No update for this meeting.
Okay.
What
Thank
about
you
the
very
good news
much.
for today?
What's that?
We had great news in the PACE realm.
I can definitely share that news. You guys will hear a lot about this in our year in review when I do talk about this next month. But we've been working very hard on expanding our ESID so that we can offer PACE to more communities than just Lorain. And we did get great news. We've been in discussion with 2 cities that are not contiguous to our current ESID district boundaries. So we were kind of starting to strategize on how to get some townships involved so that we could offer it to these other cities. And the great news that happened today is the state legislator actually announced that they passed a bill, and in that they changed the language slightly for the ESID boundaries and how they have to be contiguous. So instead of every city having to touch a current ESID boundary, they switched it up so that you can actually do anything contiguous in your county or cities in counties contiguous to your county. So really it's a convoluted way of saying this has opened up a huge door for us to be able to offer this throughout the entire county. And it's really a fantastic, huge deal that the legislator did this. It has been a struggle of ours to work out, if you can imagine, with a lot of small townships that don't have a lot of personnel and figuring out how to do this when they don't necessarily have an immediate project in mind. So truly, this is great legislation that ended up going through, and really the only thing that we're waiting on is it was not an emergency passage, so we have a 90-day wait period on that being effective, but beginning of April this will take full effect, and that'll really just put us in a great place to keep working with these other communities and get this financing opened up for all of them. So we're really excited about this.
Congratulations. That's great. That's good
There you
news.
go.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic news. All right. Thank you, Tiffany. Let's go into report of committees, Contract Management Committee, the ADA Accessible Kayak Canoe Launch proposal. Anyone
So,
wanna give me an update?
yeah, let me start and then Kelsey can wrap it up. So in our last meeting, we really had two proposals we were taking a look at. Both were using the same Easy Dock system. One was Diamond Waterfronts and the other was Aquatic Custom Services. At our last meeting, we asked that we sit down and we talk to them. There was some question with Aquatic Custom Services on whether or not this was a geographical area that they could actually put the dockage in on. It really became a moot point once we received a revised proposal from Aquatic Custom Services. They jumped their price pretty substantially, and now they're $2,800, which is about 10% higher than Diamond Waterfronts. So I think we would like to recommend to the full board that we approve the proposal for Diamond Waterfronts. Did I miss anything there, Kelsey?
No, that was a great synopsis. I did talk to Jeremy from Diamond Waterfronts on Friday as well as this afternoon, just to clarify a couple of points in the new proposal. There was I think a 69-cent difference from the initial proposal they gave us that we submitted with the grant application. And that was just due to a few of the items being swapped out for a newer generation. So the initial quote had the third generation of this type of dock, and now the new quote has the fourth generation. So the parts were just kind of upgraded and improved, and he adjusted the price to be as close to the original price as possible. So that was the reason for that slight difference. And I know there was a question Stephanie had about the caveat of the quote being based on a firm but penetrable mud bottom and a water depth of less than 5 feet. We couldn't guarantee that for him, and I made sure that he was aware of that. And he said that if the water depth was greater than that, they would then mount off of the seawall for the same price. So either way, they shouldn't have any issues with putting the dock in. And as long as there isn't any ice here in the later part of our winter season, they should hopefully be able to start with the installation as early as the last week in the last week in February or the first couple of weeks in March, just so long as the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers approves our permit, everything should be off and running without a hitch.
All right, so Kelsey, are we still set though with their pricing of that, what was it, $28,622?
Correct. Yep, that is the price. So even if they do have to make slight adjustments due to the depth of the water, that'll be included in the price that they've already given us.
Okay, and you double checked with them on the date of the proposal being way back in February of last year, and the pricing is still good?
Yes, yep. I made sure to double check that with him, and he said that was no problem at all. He's really eager to kind of get this on his schedule and get the parts ordered. He anticipates it to be a pretty busy season with people catching up from the delays of 2020.
The last thing I would add, Jeff, is that Aquatic Solutions, upon Kelsey's research with the Easy Dock company, Aquatic Solutions is not legally allowed to sell in this district, and they told us to ignore their bid as well. So even though they went higher, they weren't eligible to sell in this district as well.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the purchase of the accessible kayak canoe launch.
Moved.
We have a
By-
resolution.
Oh,
It's a
We have a
resolution?
resolution for that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You'd like to read the resolution, please?
A resolution authorizing the executive director or his designee to enter into an agreement with Diamond Waterfront for professional services relative to the addition of an ADA accessible hand-powered watercraft launch infrastructure at Riverside Park through the 2020 Paddling Enhancement Grant Program.
So board members, we have the, before you tonight, the ADA Accessible Kayak Canoe Launch Proposal, resolution number 2021-1.
So
Can I
moved.
get a roll call vote, please?
Oh,
I need a motion to approve. I'm sorry. Motion to approve by Mr. Bancek, second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Zellers. Roll call vote, please.
Steve Bancek,
aye.
Matt Kuzner,
Aye.
Brad Mullins,
Aye.
Carl Nielsen,
Aye.
Neil Summers,
Aye.
Jeff Zellers,
Aye.
Al Zagant,
Yes.
8 ayes.
You forget, did you get Matt? Okay.
I think it might be 7 ayes.
I'm sorry, 7 ayes.
Very good. Good catch.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Resolution passed. Okay. Strategic Development Plan Committee. Any update?
No, nope, no report.
Thank you. Marketing and Public Affairs Committee. Any update?
Yeah, I had scheduled a meeting with Tiffany and Tom a little bit to talk so we could have a committee meeting, and that meeting was slowed down by COVID. So we'll be doing that very soon, and there will be a meeting before the February meeting. So we will have a meeting. We'll get a notice out once we get together.
Very good. Thanks for the update. Okay. Ground Maintenance and Capital Improvements Committee. Any update?
No report at this time.
Okay. Financial Planning and Audit Committee. I think-
Roberto was the chair of this committee,
Right.
so I think we'll have to assign a new chair and make some leadership decisions. But we can obviously give the floor to Yvonne.
The vice chair is Matt or Mr. Kuzner.
Yeah, I was gonna say Matt is the vice chair. Yes, I thought Matt. Matt, you have any update?
There have been no updates. I'll try to meet with Yvonne before the next board meeting to approve. Or do you think we're going to have the year-end financials done by the next board meeting, Yvonne?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I wanted to report on that anyway. Where the audit, the year-end financial is at this point, I have to wait to get bond balance confirmation from the bonds that we have outstanding, which is conduit loan anyway. I have 1 out of 4 of those back. I have to have those to incorporate those into the notes before I'm allowed to close the year and upload it to the state. As soon as I get those back, I am ready to finish out. I'm like 99% done with the notes to financial statement. I'm waiting on a few more pieces. Once I get that done, it'll be a quick finish. And then Matt, I'll give you a call. I'll send it to you and then we can go through it. And then we'll also do the bank recs that we are waiting on as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Question?
Chair recognizes Steve.
Yes.
I don't know if this is the right time. Would it be proper for me to ask if we make, for the purposes of continuity, Matt chairman of that committee, the finance committee? Or is that something that needs to be done in another way?
You were squeaking. I didn't quite catch the question.
He asked if it would be appropriate to make Matt the chairman of that committee. The only pitfall there, I would say, is Brad and Carl would make some decisions because Matt, you're the chairman of strategic as well, aren't you?
Yes.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, let us have a conversation. I think we have a conversation with Matt too afterward and see how this plays out. I like your idea. I think that's a good fit, but we just got to make sure we're not overwhelming people. So we'll have an offsite conversation and then get back to everybody next month.
And prior to next month's meeting, if the financials are completely done, we'd obviously probably call a finance committee meeting to discuss the budget coming up.
Sure. Okay,
Absolutely.
very good.
Just for everyone's education, we don't see any really dramatic changes. Yvonne and I have had some brief discussions. what we put as a temporary budget seems to be fairly accurate so far. Our numbers are pretty good. So there may be some slight adjustments, but we'll get that all prepared and ready for committee.
Very good. Okay, bylaws and personnel committee. Personnel
had-
policies update. Yvonne?
Okay.
Yes, the changes that I made to the document are really the changes that were made and by motion at our December the 8th meeting that the board has already approved. I just wanted to put those in the document as you approved them. The only additional change that I would like to, actually, you want me to walk through those, or?
It's up to the board.
They
How
were
many are there?
They were highlighted, and there are 3 different places. The first of which is on page 12 under vacation, and it clarifies the way that the board approved it for the salaried employees. And it's the part in red.
Okay.
Okay, and then the other 2 are just simply the title change for Tiffany, and that's on page 22, and then again on page 23. And the only addition that I would like to make that to this that was not is the front cover where it has the title of Lorraine Port Authority Personnel Policy. I would like to change it to add the words Lorraine Port and Finance Authority.
Okay. Do we have
And I
to,
just need a motion to,
do you need a motion? So we want a motion to change the cover, you said, from Lorraine Port Authority to the Lorraine Port and Finance Authority, correct?
I just want it all together, if that's okay, just
Okay.
the
So-
name change as well as
The other 3 changes.
accepting
in
these
Okay.
changes.
So Tom, can we do all 3? We do all 4 together?
Yes. I would just make a motion that accept the changes as presented to the
Like-
bylaws and personnel manual.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I have a
Jake?
question.
You have a question?
Yes. Should we be changing all instances of Lorraine Port Authority to Lorraine Port and Finance Authority?
Yes.
Yeah, we probably
Yep.
better go through the whole thing and find that. Absolutely.
Good point.
Yeah, I already found one, number and page 9. Yeah, we'll go through there. That's a good motion on
It's
Matt's
all 3
part.
there. Very.
So do you want to hold off on making those changes until you go through all of them?
I think we could why don't we adopt the vacation leave as presented if anyone has any questions or comments on that? As Yvonne stated, that was what was passed in motions. And the other thing it clarifies and fixes is when you hired me as director, in my compensation package, you gave me 4 weeks of vacation time, and that was never reflected in this manual. So that was one thing we kind of slipped past the state auditors. They haven't really caught. So we wanted to make sure that was fixed. We've had some preliminary discussions about trying to adjust that schedule for hourly employees. But at this time, I think I'd rather get the salaried things because it was already passed by motion in December, and we can have committee meetings later and go through this manual a little bit more before we make any other changes. But to me, the crux of this was basically putting language together that reflected the motions that were passed at December's meeting.
Okay. With that being said, and have me repeat it, so we're having a motion basically on the vacation request, correct?
And the title.
And the title.
And the new title.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'd like to make that motion. Brad, Neil?
Okay, that's Neil Summers, second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Zellers. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
As long as we're in that committee, one thing that I did not get to in December due to the confusion and everything else was the fact that Mike Broski does a great job for us as an attorney. We've not really changed his compensation much. I talked to Mike prior to the meeting, and I neglected to bring it up during the meeting. The one thing I think that we should probably look at, and the board can make a motion or we could throw it to committee and discuss, is Mike's hourly rate right now is $100 an hour, which is really low. And I'm going to tell you that when I call Mike, when I text Mike, he's always John on the spot for us. So I would ask the board to consider changing that to $125 an hour to be a little more competitive. And the other thing I'll tell you is Mike really does not charge us for a lot of hours. It's very seldom he racks up any additional hours in addition to his retainer. So I think it's a small gesture on our part. If you look at what you pay attorneys anywhere else in the world, we're very fortunate to have Mike and very fortunate to have him at this rate. So I think it's not a huge increase, and especially in the, there's not a lot of times that Mike charges us additional hours. So, and I would open the floor to any questions on that.
So Tom, I missed that. What do you want to raise the hourly rate to, from 100 to 125, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
I would
would second it.
motion
I mean,
without
anybody that's in
hesitation.
business.
Hold on. So Mike, I have one question for you. I
Yes,
think
sir.
this came up maybe 2 years ago, and I think at that time you were commenting that you were making less than a plumber. So would $125 an hour get you above that plumber rate? Would that make you feel pretty
It'll be
good?
getting me closer.
Okay, good.
He
You'd
is
be satisfied with the 125.
There you go.
For now, yeah.
Okay.
Jeff.
Hey, I'll be honest. Mike,
Plumbing.
Mike, when I talked to Mike, he actually told me 110, and I said, Mike, let's not be silly. And I said, how about 125? And he said, hey, I'm not going to argue with you. So again, that's a testament to Mike's, honesty and loyalty to the board. So I had no problem with bringing 125 to the board for consideration.
So do we need a motion, Tom?
Yeah, a
believe I
simple
made it.
motion that we would change that rate, and then Yvonne
Okay.
can.
So a motion before the board members tonight is to take our legal representation from his hourly rate of $100 an hour to $125 an hour. I need a motion by Steve, second
A second.
by Mr. Zellers. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you very much, board.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Any other
Mike.
business, board members?
Thank you.
Any other business?
None from here.
I do have a question. Tom, have you heard anything from Bob Early?
Talk to Bob all the time. Bob is planning full go. He consistently speaks to the health commissioner. The health commissioner still feels that if the vaccine rollout is going, progressing, that they hope that there'll be some sort of concert series. It may not be full capacity. It might be a partial crowd. Bob has a couple strategies in place. If he's only allowed to, hypothetically, he can only let 1,200 people in, he may raise the ticket price a little bit. Quite honestly, after losing last year, I don't think it would be the worst idea in the world if he's going to raise ticket prices at some point. This would probably be the year to do it. I don't think anybody's going to squawk at that if you raise it $1 or $2. But Bob is full systems go, coming up with a calendar. He's even brought up the fact that he's making preliminary plans for an Oktoberfest in the first weekend of October as part of his schedule. So he's raring to go. He got his first vaccine dose yesterday, so he was pretty happy, and he's supposed to swing up sometime next week, hopefully.
Fantastic. It's good news. Okay, anybody else? Any other business? Any other comments?
Mr.
Looking
Chairman.
for announcements from
Yeah.
Summer Market.
Yes. I'm sorry, Matt, Chair recognizes Matt?
Yes. So I just attended the virtual Lorraine City Charter Commission meeting. And I think there's a lot of unanswered questions. I think they're kind of kicking around a few things, and that kind of got me thinking. Do we as an entity or as a port authority, do we have any, do we have any skin in the game, really? Are there any potential changes that we need to look out for in terms of, board members being reappointed, our relationship with the city? Is there anything that's kind of on our radar about that?
Tom, I'll relinquish to
I
you.
think that we're going to have to keep a pulse on, as they come up with documents or directions. So we'll closely follow that. And if I need to, I'll consult with Mike. I don't think that he could outright repeal ordinances, and we're covered by the original ordinance. A charter could, in theory, could change some of the processes, but we're always going to be protected by Ohio Revised Code 4582, which states municipalities have to, their mayor appointees with council consent. So I think that, we just raised Mike's rate so that he can get all these calls from me, and we'll keep a close pulse on this, though. I think it's a great point, Matt. And I think that, we're going to have to pay attention to it as it goes along.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Good point.
Get out of here.
Okay, any other comments? Motion to adjourn.
A motion to
By
adjourn.
Mr. Zellers, second by Mr. Bancek. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
I look
Meeting's
forward to seeing
closed. Thank you very
soon.
much, board members.
Have a great day, everybody.
You too.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Have a great
Well,
evening.
everybody.
Bye.
See you later.